deposit money into them, you can withdraw money from them, you can transfer money to a different bank account, or you can make a payment to a debt. In this case, we're transferring, and we're transferring money to our groceries fund. It automatically marks as cleared because, again, these are virtual budgets. It's the same account. No money's actually moving, so it transfers implicitly. But then we'll set it to $100. Now, that has several effects. For one thing, you'll notice that now in our payment plan, suddenly things show up in red. It says, this payment plan may no longer be valid. Please delete and rerun. That's an important warning, because what this is telling you is it says, if you follow this payment plan now, you'll run out of money. And that's because we just moved $100 out of the debts and expenses budget into groceries. That's $100 that this payment plan was expecting to have to send to the Visa card. Now, this isn't a big deal. We can plan ahead. We can handle it. All you really need to do is go back to scenarios and rerun it. Same rules as before. If it's telling you that you run out of money, then you can come back to here and transfer money around or decrease your expenses or what have you. If it succeeds, just resave the payment plan, come back here, the scary red lines will go away. You can also filter the payment plan to see the entire plan, items that are past due, which we'll highlight in yellow, items that are payable now, which you can see is the car loan, as well as items that are short, which because we funded our groceries, we suddenly have a lot of things that go short. So again, this is a very clear way to demonstrate to you the ramifications of not living within the budget. So if you take additional money out of debts and expenses to spend on something else, it's going to show you immediately, well, all the bills that you're not going to be able to pay as a result of it. And this is why you need to know exactly where all of your money is and stick to the plan. Now, okay, so we have our money in groceries. You can see our transfer showed up, funding $100, and well, we'll buy some groceries. We'll say grocery store. It's a withdrawal of $55. Now, once we have that in here, we can add additional information to the transaction. We can add a memo line. Beautiful day. Bought tomatoes. You can also add split information. You can make your transactions as detailed as you want and break up into all sorts of small bits of information if you find that useful. So we're going to add on a split record here, and we're going to call that food. And then we're going to say that we spent $55 on it. And then we're also going to add on a second split record, and we're going to call that pharmacy. And that one we'll say that we spent $20 on. Now this, you'll notice, adjusts our overall transaction to $75 because we spent $55 and $20 on each of those. But what we can also do is we can add even more granularity if we want. We can go into food and we can add a sub-split record. So we'll add in a couple of those, and we'll say that we spent we bought milk, and for whatever reason it's very important for us to keep that separated. So we spent $8 on that, and you'll notice our food budget dropped down to $8. That's actually not true. And then we'll just say other. Now it was originally $55, so we'll put back in 47, and you see that food goes back up to 55. If you wanted to break this down even more, you're welcome to. Again, split up your transactions as much as you find useful. If you've stored a receipt, a copy of your receipt, you can drag it in here or click to add it. Just as a side note, receipts aren't actually stored within your data file. They're stored externally wherever you kept them, so you don't want to delete them. We'll go back to the transaction details. There's also some historical information that you can look at. So you have the payment plan here, which is the future. But you can also look at charts, which shows you the past. So this tells you that this shows you the money coming in and money going out. So this says for the groceries budget, which we've got selected here, on the 3rd we had a $100 deposit and a $75 withdrawal. Nothing's happened in Christmas savings or emergency funds, but debts and expenses has had a fair bit of action. You can also select multiple items at once. And this will, for example, show, and this will change to a stacked bar chart. So you can see that money going in and out of debts and expenses as well as in and out of groceries. It also alters the ledger to include transactions from all selected budgets. In addition to charts, you can also bring up reports and show the total paid to various things. So, we've spent $100 funding groceries and $75 at the grocery store and $100 doing our transfer from checking to savings. And by default, it lists the spending totals for all time, but you can change to various other things as you choose, or even filter by a specific date range. You can do the same thing for the charts, and you can also filter how many cleared transactions to store in the ledger. The final bit of information to realize on here is that the ledger screen is pretty good at drag and drop. So if you want to transfer money from debts and expenses to groceries, like we did earlier, we manually created the record and filled in all the data. You can also just select it and drop it on top. Say that I want to move $100 from debts and expenses to groceries, and that automatically creates the transaction for me. But then once it's created, you might say, well, it's funding from the from debts and expenses in this case, but I actually want to move money from Christmas over to groceries instead. You can just drag the transaction over to the other budget. That moves it and says, okay, instead of funding groceries from money in debts and expenses, it's funding money in the Christmas savings. When you're done with all this, if you need to find a certain piece of information, you can just search for it. So we can say groceries, and that brings up the ledger the transactions involving groceries. Again, if you want to search across multiple accounts, just select them over here. And that about does it for the ledger, which should give you, between all these tutorials, enough information on how to plan for the future and how to look at the past. I hope this has all been helpful. If you need any further assistance, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you very much.